All right, welcome back and hello, Empress Kia. Yes, I'm also glad that you finally caught alive. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. How are you? So, as you can see from the title, you know what we're here to discuss today, right? Now, there have been a lot of goings on in this case since we first reviewed this case about 6 months ago. Now, before I dive into the topic, I like to hop into the chat and say hello to the folks that I see therein. So, hello to Granny. Hello to I Am Queen. Hello to Senorita A. Jones, or is it SRA Jones? Hello to Nappy Yankee. And hello to Empress Kia, as I have already said. Let me make sure that I put my phone on silent. So, now let's dive into it, shall we? When I first covered this case about 6 months ago, it was a newly filed case. Okay. The case had just recently been filed by Cardi B, and Latasha Kebe had filed a countersuit. And we addressed both the original complaint as well as the countersuit. Now, if for some reason you did not catch my original video on this case, you absolutely have to start there. I mean, really, 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 and truly, you have to start there because in that original video, we broke down the actual initial filing, the complaint that was filed by Cardi B. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and do right now, as some of you come on into the room and come on into the stream, is play my intro while I bring up the link for the original Cardi B and Tasha K video. Okay, so if you check out the chat, you will see that I have added to our lovely chat the link to my original video on this case. As I said before, you have to start there, right? Because that is where we review Cardi B's initial filing in this case. So you got to start there. Anyway, now let's jump into it. Hello to Doug. I think I said hello to Nappy Yankee already, but hey, take his advice. Hit the like button, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and if you feel called to do so, you are more than welcome to send along a cash app. Okay. Hello to Senorita Flowers. Special shout out to Senorita Flowers for being a member of the Empowered Esquire tribe. If you click the join now button, you can become a member of my channel, which comes along with special content where I discuss life and family. Also comes along with travel vlogs. I have about 2 or 3 travel vlogs actually coming down the pike now. And whenever I do my pop-up lives, they are saved for replay in the membership section. Okay, you don't get that replay of those lives in the general public. Okay, hello to Brown Girl Bella. Let me see. I feel like I'm missing some people. Hello to Trip C's Treehouse. Hello to Truth Soldier. Hello to Amare Shager. Hello to Angela Williams. All right. Hello to Josephine. Okay, so I think I've got everyone now. For the moment you've all been waiting for, right? Let's get on into discussing what has been going on in this case. So I have queued up for you all, per my usual, a bunch of different resources that are going to kind of catch you up to where the case is now, right? So let's pick up where we left off. Now, when we last spoke, I believe that we had broken down the countersuit by Tasha K. But I'm not sure if we were able to discuss what happened to the countersuit. So, just in case we did not get to that, let me catch you up very quickly. When Cardi B initially sued Tasha K, Tasha K filed what is called a countersuit. Now, if you are new to lawsuits, you may be wondering, what is that? Well, when someone sues you and you are the defendant, you can sue that person as well. And that is called a countersuit. And in that suit, you allege that, hey, in fact, I am the person that was injured here. This plaintiff isn't the actual plaintiff, right? So, Latasha Kebe attempted to do that. However, her countersuit was dismissed. Okay, so let's take a quick look at a little statement regarding her countersuit, why that was dismissed, before we move along into the trial. Okay, queuing that up for you all, and then I'm going to share my screen. Hello to Shanoa Lorenzin. Oh, thank you very much for enjoying my commentary. Let's put her beautiful picture up here. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so here we are. All right, so we are looking at an article titled Judge Tosses Blogger Tasha K's Countersuit Against Cardi B. Now, in the description of my videos, I always note that everything I use is covered under the fair use exception, right? But I will verbally say that because I know Nappy Yankee is going to remind me, right? So I will also say it verbally. Okay. Alrighty. And also, you guys, bear in mind, it's been snowing up north. Okay. So we may have some internet issues, right? If we do, we're going to push through it. Okay. Because we're soldiers. So we soldier through things. Okay. All right. Let me make this much larger for you all. Okay. Here we go. Judge tosses blogger Tasha K's countersuit against Cardi B. Okay. A judge has tossed blogger Tasha K's countersuit against Cardi B. According to TMZ, the court ruled in the rapper's favor, so in Cardi B's favor, saying that Tasha K couldn't prove that Cardi B was connected to the assault and emotional distress she claims to have suffered back in 2019. Pause. A large part of Tasha K's countersuit was an allegation that Cardi B had gotten people, whether that's one person or a group of people, right, to threaten Tasha K in an effort to get her to retract her videos. Okay. And then Tasha K then alleged that these threats caused her distress. So that was the gist of Tasha K's countersuit. Okay. Now, as previously reported, Tasha K claimed that Cardi B assaulted her, even though they were never in the same room, and that she was in such fear for her life that she reached out to the FBI. So I believe that Tasha K's countersuit alleged, again, not that Cardi B herself touched or assaulted Tasha K in any way, but rather the allegation was that Cardi B paid and persuaded people to threaten and to assault Tasha Kebe. But that's neither here nor there, right, at this point, because it was thrown out. Okay, so in court documents, the judge said that Tasha K had failed to produce any evidence that Cardi herself threatened Latasha or made her believe that she was going to harm her. Okay, the judge continued, instead, Latasha has only made allegations that others who may be associated with Cardi made these threats, and has failed to demonstrate here that the threats were directed by Cardi. Okay, so herein lies the problem with Tasha K's countersuit, right? You cannot say that someone is threatening you indirectly without proving that they gave direction. Okay, you like what I did there? You cannot say that someone is threatening you indirectly without proving that they gave direction. So, in other words, you cannot say, oh my goodness, Doug threatened me. I'm in fear for my life. And then when you are questioned about who threatens you, you say, oh, well, actually, it was Swan X who, told me that he was going to beat me up. Okay, so how is that connected to Doug? You have to prove that Doug directed Swan X to threaten you. If you cannot prove that, you cannot prove a connection. So it looks like That was the problem with Tasha K's countersuit. Okay, so that is the gist of that, folks. Does anyone have any questions for me about the countersuit and how we got to the place where Tasha K's countersuit was outright dismissed? I will take a sip of my tea while I see if you all have any questions. All right, I don't see any thus far, so we're going to move forward. So, because listen, you all, so much has happened in this case and in this trial that we have a lot to cover. So, I'm not going to give you the usual time to drop your questions. If I don't see any questions, I'm going to, keep it moving because we got to go. We have to go tonight, y'all. All right. So, the next thing we are going to do is look at the docket in this case. We're going to look at what has happened in this case thus far, at least according to the court docket. So, the docket will tell us any major documentation that has been filed and any major decisions that have been made thus far. Okay. So, let me pull up the docket for you all. I wanted to copy this link, or at least I thought I did. Let's see here. Ah, wonderful. Okay, so once more, I am going to share my screen. Um, Brown Girl Bella says, "Uh-oh, am I okay?" Hmm. Oh, the tea. Oh, no, 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 I'm fine. So I am a tea drinker, you all. Well, coffee and tea. Usually people are either coffee or tea, right? But I'm both, y'all. I love coffee. I always have my coffee in the morning. And I love tea. I drink tea all day. It doesn't even matter if, I'm feeling under the weather or not. So thank you for checking on me, Brown Girl Bella. And just for that, let's give you a little shout out here. Look at that, another gorgeous picture, right? Very gorgeous people in the building tonight. Thank you for checking on me. I am just fine. I'm just fine. I just like tea. Okay, so let me share my screen so we can get into the docket thus far. Okay, you can see that? Awesome. So if you are a newbie here, this website is going to be new to you. But if you're an OG, you know this website, right? For all the newbies, allow me to first say welcome. And to say, secondly, there are a few ways that you can find out what is going on in a federal lawsuit, right? Now, you can use PACER, and PACER is the federal system, it's the government run system. However, PACER does have charges and fees. Okay, so PACER, while it is, as I said, the government run system, there are charges and fees that go along with PACER. So there are other tools you can use if you do not want to, have to pay for PACER. And Court Listener is one of those tools. I love to show, here on my channel, I love to show my viewers free tools that you can use to learn the law, to read the law, and to enrich yourself, right? Why? Well, because the tagline is to what? Empower you. That is what I seek to do, everyone. All right. So, one of those free tools is Court Listener. So, here we are. Almanzar v. Kibe. Okay, District Court in the Northern District of Georgia. We see that it is assigned to Judge William M. Ray. I believe that is the same judge currently sitting in this trial. Okay, don't quote me on that, but I believe so. Now here we see starting from October of 2021, which by the way, I think I'm on page 2. Let me check. Right, I'm on page 2. So let's go back just for purposes of, review. As you can see, if you go to the first page, you see when the initial complaint was filed back in 2019. You can even see the PDF of that complaint. And we did that in my initial video. So once more, I am going to copy and paste for you all. Can I do that? I don't think I can copy and paste it again. One of my mods, if you don't mind, please pasting this link again. Okay. So we go through the entire docket in my initial interpretation of this case. Okay. All righty. So this is page 1, takes you through 2019 and all the things that occurred in the case in 2019. So for our purposes, we are going to, man, this is loading, at the speed of molasses here. Jeesh. Okay. So for our purposes, do you see how slow this is moving? Holy moly. And then is it showing everything? Hold on, hold on. No, still page 1. Okay, anywho, page 2. Page 2 begins with October 26th. We see that there were motions in limine filed by Cardi B's attorney. Okay. A motion in limine is a motion to limit and or exclude certain types of evidence. All right. So this is the part where I take a vote, right? We're going to have the democratic process. Do you all have any interest in these motions? Or do you want to get right into what's going on in the trial? So put a 1 in the chat if you have interest in the motions and you love for me to go through a few of them and break them down for you. Or put a 2 in the chat if you're not really a law nerd, you don't really care about that, and you really just want to get to the trial. Okay? In the meantime, I'm back in the chat. Hello to Rockin' with the Truth. Hello to Sis Zakia. I don't know if I said hello already. Hello to AC. Hello to Black Girl Beauty. Sis Zakia says, now I want a cup of tea. Yeah, you should get you a cup of tea. All right, so it looks like I see 2, right? I see that you all just want to get right to the trial. All right, let's do that. So motions were filed. I'm not going to explain or break them down, okay, because that is not what you wanted. Okay. Now we are forwarding. We're going to come all the way down to when the trial begins, okay? So here, December 20th, 2021, we see that a pretrial conference was held back in November, right? And we see that the court published a transcript of that. Then on December 30th, we see that the trial is being set. Then we also see December 30th that the pretrial conference is set for January 5th. And then we see that that occurred on January 5th, right? We now go into a bunch of, objections to other things, right? Not the trial, not relevant for us. And now we see here on January 10th, voir dire and jury selection was completed. Okay, so we know the jury was chosen and they moved forward to trial. January 11th, right, we see the trial continued. We see that Tasha had a motion for reconsideration, right? So if some type of evidence, remember, I'm not breaking that down because you guys want to get straight to the trial, okay? All righty. So we also see later on in that same docket note, January 11th, we see that counsel conducted opening arguments. So that means that Cardi B's attorney gave an opening statement, right? And then Tasha Kibe's attorney gave an opening statement. Then we see that plaintiff called defendant Tasha Kibe as their first witness. Now we get into the trial, okay? McConnell Hancock, bye-bye, you've been blocked. And I don't have the block song queued up, but you're blocked. Okay. Now, we see that Tasha Kibe was called as a witness by Cardi B's attorney. Now think about that. You have the plaintiff calling the defendant as a witness in their case. So listen, if you're not familiar with trials and the way that trials are run, what typically happens is that the plaintiff presents their case and then the defendant presents their case, right? That is if the defendant wants to present a case. So it is not the norm for the plaintiff to take the stand for the defendant to take the stand in the plaintiff's case. That is not at all the norm, okay? And it definitely isn't the norm for the plaintiff to want to call the defendant as their witness. Now, many people on the internet were in an uproar about this. I heard people saying that Latasha's rights were violated, that she should not have been made to take the stand and testify in the plaintiff's case, that it violates her Fifth Amendment, yada, yada, yada. Okay. And this is the danger of listening to random, chit chat on the internet. Okay. Because a lot of things can get misconstrued. So, do you have a Fifth Amendment right not to be forced to testify against yourself? Right? Yes, you do. It is called your right against self-incrimination. However, when used at a trial, it only purely and truly applies in criminal trials. So, one more time. Do you, in general, have a Fifth Amendment right against incriminating yourself? Yes, in general, you do. However, when applied to running an actual trial, that Fifth Amendment right only truly attaches in a criminal prosecution. Meaning, in civil cases, defendants are called by plaintiffs to take the stand. It happens, and it can happen. Now, that's the first thing. The second thing is Latasha herself could have chosen to take the stand, right? She could have decided, okay, I will take the stand. And we know that she did because we know that in her case, in defendant's case later on, she took the stand, right? So two sides to that coin. First, it's only a pure right? An unequivocal right in a criminal case. And then second, you now have that Tasha eventually took the stand in her own case. So she may have just agreed to take the stand, right? She may have said, that's fine, I'll testify. Okay. Now I see our mod Doug being amazing as he usually is. And he says, hey, everyone, hit the like button. And I agree with him. We have, we actually, you know what? Our likes and people in the building aren't actually far apart. I have to say that, but please hit the like button, everyone. Alrighty. So anywho, I wanted to explain why it is that Tasha K could have been called to testify in Cardi B's case and not necessarily in her case. Okay. And she did testify again, as I said, in her own case. Okay. She did testify again in her own case. Her husband also testified, but we'll get to that. Okay. So let us keep on strolling down this docket, shall we? All right, so now January 12th, we see that plaintiff's counsel resumed and then finished their examination of Ms. Kibe. So they finished questioning Tasha K. We will get to specifically what Tasha K said during her testimony, but we will get to that a little bit later. We're going to first go through this docket, okay? All right, let's see here. And then we see, let me have a teaching moment. So when you see here this list of documents, well, you see a list of numbers really, so allow me. So you see plaintiff's exhibits and you see 606, 522, yada, 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 okay? What that means is that while Cardi B's attorney was examining, right, which is the legal term for questioning. So while Cardi B's attorney was questioning Latasha Kibe, she used pieces of evidence during her questioning. And those pieces of evidence were exclusively, introduced during her case. So that is why they are called plaintiff's exhibits. And these numbers are used to identify them. So as you can see, there are quite a bit of different pieces of plaintiff's evidence that was used during Mrs. Kibe's questioning. And so why is that important? Well, allow me. It tells you quite a few things. The first thing that it tells you is that this was not simply an empty conversation. It tells you that Cardi B's attorney walked into that questioning very prepared. And she presented, because look at all these exhibits. You have to prepare your questioning to align with these exhibits, everyone. They have to be relevant to your questioning. So we know that Cardi B's attorney was highly prepared, right? And we know that it was not an empty examination. It wasn't just lodge a question, wait for an answer, lodge a question, wait for an answer, lodge a question, wait for an answer. No, 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 no. It was probably questioning that was very detailed and questioning that was every so often supplemented by pieces of evidence. So, for example, I could say to Doug, Doug, you know that when you said that Pretoria Afro drank all of your apple juice, you were not telling the truth. And Doug could say, oh, well, I'm not sure. Or he could admit it and say yes, right? His answer isn't really relevant. But there is a difference between me questioning Doug in that manner, right? And me saying this. Hello, Doug. I now want to show you plaintiff's exhibit number 606. Doug, do you recognize that? Doug has to say yes. Now, Doug, do you recognize who is in this photograph? Doug would say yes. Is that not a photograph of you, Doug, drinking all of Pretoria Afro's apple juice? And then Doug would have to say yes. So you see the difference, right? Notice how much more powerful it was the second time when I confronted Doug with actual evidence versus the first time where I just kind of spouted off a closed-ended question and tried to get Doug to admit things. When you are breaking down these cases and looking at these lawsuits and you see attorneys using so many pieces of evidence during their examination, it should hit you immediately that that person is prepared and that more than likely this was an examination that was supported with evidence. Okay. Alrighty, so let's continue. So now January 13th, we see plaintiff then called Mr. Kibe. So not only did Cardi B's attorney call Tasha K to testify, it appears that Cardi B's attorney also called Tasha K's husband to testify. Now, what exactly he said, we'll get to that later. Okay. Very interesting. And then we see that Miss Almanzar testified. Okay, so Cardi B testified. Interesting. It then says trial will resume on January 18th. Now, January 18th, we see minute entry proceedings. We see that the trial continued. Okay, we see that the plaintiff rest. So that means the plaintiff closed their case. They said, we have presented all of the evidence we intend to present. We then see that defendant began their case. How do we know that? Because defendant calls Miss Kibe to testify. So what is the difference between the second testimony and the first one? Remember, the first testimony was Cardi B's attorney calling Tasha K to testify, right? So she wasn't being called by her own attorney. Now this second testimony is her own attorney calling her to testify. So it's her case. She's presenting her side of the case. All righty. All right, we see that some exhibits were entered. We see that defendant entered a video exhibit. Interesting. Plaintiff objected. And then the court recessed early and ordered defendants to provide all photo and video exhibits for review to ensure that there is nothing that violates the pretrial order. Now, we have to have a conversation about this. So as we get into this case and the testimony, you will see that there are allegations that Tasha K's attorney attempted to introduce evidence that was already deemed inadmissible. Now, that could sound like a bunch of legalese and gobbledygook, right? So allow me. In the beginning of a trial, meaning before the trial even begins, both sides of the trial talk to the judge about the evidence. Now, both sides have the opportunity to say to the judge, Your Honor, I don't think this or that should be included in this trial. That is the purpose of all of those motions you saw in the beginning. So the allegation here is that the judge had already said there were certain things that Tasha K's attorney could not discuss, could not address, could not bring up, and she brought them up anyway. Now, I don't know if that hits you as significant, right? But in case it doesn't, it is extremely significant. It is absolutely unacceptable for an attorney to go against a pretrial order of a judge. And it also scars the jury. Because remember, the judge says, don't speak about this or don't speak about that. And the judge means that he does not want the jury to hear this thing. So when that attorney chooses to violate the judge's order and speak about it anyway, and the jury hears it, whoa, you've got a big problem. You know what you've got? You've got a chance that even if Tasha K was able or is able to get away, meaning to get off on this case and to not be held responsible, Cardi B could appeal and she could bring up this very moment where you had Tasha K's attorney violating the order and talking about things that were not supposed to be discussed. This is how big of a problem it is. Okay. Hello to Miss Gemini Night Owl. And thank you so much, Pretoria Afro, for liking and sharing the vid. Yes, please like and share, you all. As I always say, you're welcome to have your own opinion, right, as to these topics that I share. And I don't really share my personal opinion anyway. I really just kind of share the information with you and the law with you. Okay. Whew, man. So let's see. Are there any other nuggets here? Plaintiff is ordered to notify defense tonight if there are any objections. Okay. If there are disputes, the court will reconvene with the attorneys. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so that is what has been updated thus far in the docket. Now remember, you can go to Pacer for this information, but Pacer will charge you, whereas tools such as Court Listener are free. I have a Pacer account, right? I could have went to Pacer, but there is a reason that I show you free tools. I show you free tools so that you can what? Use them. All right, so I am going to hop back into the chat. Thank you, Doug. Doug is sharing with you all my initial breakdown of this case. Ooh, you guys, so quite a bit to unpack there. Now, we discussed the court docket, right? So what we're going to move into next is the actual testimony. And we're going to get into some snippets of the testimony and have the larger conversation as to whether or not the testimony that has occurred gives us any, idea about where this case could be headed. Now, I always caution people against predicting cases, right? You should never predict. But, however, you can discuss, right? And discussing is not necessarily the same as predicting. Okay. So let's see. What do I have queued up for you now? Oh, wait. I had something else queued up for you before we get into the testimony. So I want to have a conversation with you all about Tasha K and her attorney. Okay, so I am going to pull up an article which discusses some of Tasha K's attorney's behavior throughout this trial, right? And also the moment that we just discussed, the moment in which she allegedly tried to introduce evidence that had been deemed inadmissible, okay? So I pulled up an article, again, fair use for all of the articles that I use, all right? And the full details on fair use is in the description of my video. So I pulled up an article that discusses the situation with Tasha K and her attorney, and also gets into a bit of the testimony. So we're going to kind of hop over there, hop over here, hop over there, hop over here, and then round it all up and make a perfect little present for you all. Okay. So let me share my screen. Da, 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 da. Hello to everyone that is just joining us. Hello to Karen J. And hello to those in the bushes. I see you as well. So here we go. So has Tasha K's lawyer purposely sabotaged her case against Cardi B? For those of you who have never seen Tasha K's attorney, this is her in the middle. Okay, that's a picture of her. All right, so quick rundown per this article. We know that Tasha K was sued by Cardi B. We can move on from that. Okay. Here is the juice, everyone. There have been eyewitness reports that Tasha K stumbled over her testimony. It's alleged that she even admitted under oath that she knew the things that she was saying about Cardi were untrue, but that it was for entertainment purposes. Let's stop there. I'm going to leave this picture up so we can have a larger conversation. Can you say things about someone on the internet that you know to be false, but say that you said it for entertainment purposes? So, is it okay for the purposes of entertainment to say something about someone that is not true? Let's do this. Put a Y in the chat if you think, yes, it's totally cool. As long as I say that it's just funs and giggles, I can say whatever I want about someone. Put a Y in the chat if you think that. Put an N in the chat if you think, no, even if it's just for entertainment, I cannot say something that is not true about someone because it is defamation. Y or N in the chat. You tell me what you think before we dive in. I'm going to have another sip of my tea. I am drinking turmeric ginger tea. I'm loving these answers. Okay. So I see some no's, but I also see some yeses, and I want to highlight some of the answers here. So Irreconcilable says, by the way, hello Irreconcilable. She says comedians do it all the time. So yes. So she says yes. You can say something that is not true about someone as long as you know it's for funs and giggles. It's for entertainment. Okay. Miss Gemini also says yes. We've got Black Girl Beauty saying no, Rocking with the Truth saying no. Hello to Brenda. Now listen. I am very good with faces. And because YouTube has these lovely avatar options, right? Whenever someone posts a picture of themselves as their avatar, it helps me to remember you. So you become, like imprinted in my mind, right? So, Brenda W., I remember you and your picture, and I remember that I haven't seen you in a while. So I'm glad to see you again. I hope you've been well. I hope your family is well. And I'm glad to see you again, Brenda. I hope all is well. All right. We have a comment from Nappy Yankee. We're going to get to his in a second, though, because I see he's going on to a different side here. Okay. I see everyone saying no, 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 no. Okay. And Sis Zakia says, oh, that's a good tea. Very healthy. Yes, darling. The turmeric and the ginger is awesome. The turmeric helps with any inflammation and bloating. Ladies, we get inflamed and bloated a lot. And the ginger helps with digestion. So, yeah. Oh my goodness. Brenda says that's my daughter, Sarah, who passed away. Oh my goodness. Brenda, my condolences on your loss. Your daughter, I mean, just from her picture, she radiates so much happiness and beauty. And I hope she's resting peacefully. Alrighty. So I see most of you said no, you don't think it's okay, but I want to highlight the people that said yes, because I have an interesting answer for you. So did you know that the answer to that question technically is yes? So it is called, everyone, I'm going to type it in the chat for you all, satire. Everyone, welcome to satire. Yes, you can say something about someone online that you know to be absolutely false if it's for laughs and giggles, if it is satire. However, there is a difference between satire and defamation. Okay. And it's not a thin line either. It's not a thin line. Let's be clear. It's a pretty thick line. Okay. Now, satire. So when you see people such as Whacktoons, right? And you see he makes these cartoons where he pretends to be certain people, that's obviously satire, right? So really, he could say some pretty off the wall stuff in his little tunes, and it's fine because it's obviously satire. There is a difference between what Whacktoons does and what Tasha K allegedly did. Okay. Tasha K did not appear to be using this quote unquote information in a satirical way. She didn't seem to make it a joke. She didn't seem to use it for comedic purposes. She seemed to present it as though it is the truth. And that, my friends, is defamation, not satire. Okay? I'm glad we had this talk. I'm a super nerd and I love having these conversations. Let's hop into what Nappy Yankee says. So Nappy Yankee says, why would her own attorney purposely sabotage her case? If that is proven, can Tasha sue for a refund? I love this question. So, if for some reason it is found to be true that Tasha K's attorney purposely sabotaged getting tongue tied. You see this? Purposely sabotaged Tasha's case, then Latasha can sue her attorney for malpractice. Okay, that is what she would say. She would say, you, as my attorney, you took a vow to work in my best interest, and you did not do that. You did the opposite of that. That is malpractice. So if it could be proven, yes, she could sue her, and she could sue her for malpractice. Okay. All righty. I am moving on. Brenda, I want to highlight some of Brenda's comments, just to make sure that we send her all the love that we can. Her daughter's birthday is tomorrow. So everyone send Brenda some love. You are absolutely welcome, Brenda. All right. Hello to KC. Did I miss anyone else? I don't think so. All right. So let's hop back into this article here. See what other juice we've got here. Now, Cardi's attorney presented the fact that Cardi had suffered mental anguish from the lies that Tasha K put out and that she had to seek psychological therapy. Now, for those of you who've been following this case, you know that it is alleged that Cardi broke down on the stand and that she started crying. And she said that she, felt as though she did not want to continue living when Tasha K said the things that she said. She felt disconnected from her husband and no longer wanted to, be romantic with him. She felt disconnected from her child and that she had to seek psychological treatment. Now, if you are a newbie here, you might be wondering, so what? But if you're an OG, you know why that's important. All of that goes towards what? Injury. And injury goes towards damages. So Cardi B, as the plaintiff, right, she has to prove that she was injured. That's why she's crying on the stand and talking about, her mental health and her marriage and, feeling as though she no longer wanted to live because she has to prove injury, because she has to have an injury for her to claim that she should be granted any damages. So she has to do that. Now, mind you, did she have to cry? No, but the crying doesn't hurt, does it? I mean, let's be real. The crying definitely didn't hurt her case. But Cardi B did have to establish some level of injury, and that is why the psychological treatment and the mental health is all relevant. Okay? Oh, we got some interesting topics here, or interesting comments, I should say. Let's take a look at this first. So, Sis Zakia says, can Tasha take action against her attorneys for poor representation? Again, remember, malpractice. So, if a client feels that an attorney did not really operate in their best interest, did not do their best to represent them, they can sue for malpractice. Amara Grace TV. Amara Grace TV, how are you? All right, so she says, honestly, how could she defend herself after she got on the stand and admitted, how could she defend her as in the attorney? Run that back. How could she defend her after she got on the stand and admitted to lying for views and money? We're going to get there, you all. We're going to get to what Tasha K said on the stand, okay? Rockin' with the Truth says, why does she, I think she means Cardi B, care so much about oh no, she doesn't mean Cardi B. Let me stop jumping to conclusions, y'all, and read the whole. Why does she care so much about a stranger's box and what she has? Why care, Tasha? You don't know her like that. Well, I will add this. Tasha's livelihood, i.e. her income, right? I.e., the way she keeps people in her house fed is talking about celebrity gossip, if you will. And she doesn't do what many people here in this space do and what I do, right? Which is discussing legal issues. She actually discusses gossip. I mean, she'll get a tip from here, a tip from there, and she'll just put it out. That's what she does. And that is how she has grown her platform to, I believe she's at 1 million now, right? Let's see. Black Girl Beauty says, interesting. I have new information to add to my instruction for my students when teaching copyright. Black Girl Beauty, you teach copyright? That's awesome. B Buccaneer, another person that I haven't seen in a while. Hello, B Buccaneer. How are you? I hope you've been well. So B Buccaneer says the Reverend Jerry Falwell case against Larry Flint revealed that you could get away with defamation. Interesting. Flint used the magazine to tout that Falwell and his mother were intimate, and he won. Well, interesting. Well, we'll see what happens here because remember, precedent can always be overturned. So, for those of you who may not know what that means, precedent, not the president, but precedent is case law that has made a certain decision. So here we know that in this Falwell case, right, the defendant ended up getting away with it, but that doesn't mean that that'll happen here. You never know. Irreconcilable says, can Tasha plead insanity? No. Nope. That's off the table at this point. Oh boy. All right. Let's see. Oh, Sis Zakia made an interesting statement. She says, if Tasha's actions cause Cardi B to lose work, it will increase the financial damages. And that is true. And Brenda says, very sweet of us, and it means more to her than we could ever know. All right. So yes, Brenda, we're glad to lift you up and give you support and love. Glad to have you here. Let's see. I'm scrolling through these comments. Some very, very interesting comments in this chat. Forever Crazy, how are you? Forever Crazy says Tasha knew that the blank she was talking about was blank, not a cold sore. I don't get it. Are you saying that Tasha was right? I don't know. Talk to us. So let's get into Tasha K's testimony, okay? Now, as we know, Tasha K took the stand twice, right? She was first called by Cardi B's attorney, and then she was called by her own attorney. Now, it is alleged that she did not appear herself on the stand. The reports that are coming out of the courtroom, so live from the courtroom, is that Tasha K seems to be nervous. She is stumbling over her words. She is asking for questions to be repeated, saying she does not understand them, which could be a stalling tactic, right? The I don't understand because I don't want to answer. But all of that is neither here nor there. What really matters here is that Tasha K supposedly admitted that she knew that she was not telling the truth. One more time. Tasha K supposedly admitted that she knew that what she was saying about Cardi B was a lie. But she said what? That it was for entertainment purposes. But as we've already covered, there is a difference between satire, which is entertainment in which you're not telling the truth, and defamation. And the way that it was presented by Tasha K, from what we see, in my humble opinion, doesn't appear to be satire, right? So that's a problem. Now, let's continue here. Ooh, it is said, it is alleged that Tasha K and her team are falling apart. It has been said that Tasha K's attorney, Olga Izmailova, by the way, you guys, I love languages and accents. Y'all, I love it. So I love to anyway, so Olga Izmailova has been attempting to present evidence that was deemed inadmissible in the pre-trial. Oh, my. Bad, right? Any of you watch Game of Thrones? Shame. That is not right. Okay. You cannot do that. If the judge deems it inadmissible, you cannot bring it up, especially in front of the jury. That is grounds for Cardi B to get an appeal. All right, so attorney Ismailova attempted to bring up the Cardi B shoe throwing incident. She also tried to admit a video showing Azalea Banks talking about Cardi B, suggesting that Cardi B is a racist. The judge had already deemed that evidence to be inadmissible. As we've discussed several times, you cannot do that. And judges will loathe you for doing it. Some will even sanction you for doing it, which they're well within their rights to do so, because what? You hurt the case. You make it so that the other party can appeal because you're discussing things in front of the jury that you're not supposed to be discussing. Okay. Casey has an interesting comment. He says, so if it was proven that Cardi did not have, then why would Cardi be depressed? And wasn't Offset cheating on Cardi? Would that be the reason why she was depressed? Well, Casey, we do not know, of course, exactly why Cardi was depressed. And it could have been a number of things that led to her, quote unquote, depression, right? However, it is not as simple as saying that if Cardi B did not have blank, then why would she be sad about it? It is not that simple, right? Because it is easy to feel sad and down and depressed about someone saying things about you, whether they are true or not. And I think we can all relate to that as human beings. Someone saying something about you is hurtful. We like to pretend that sticks and stones can break my bones and words, can never hurt me. And that is a load of paflui. Okay. It's a whole garbage can of trash and it's a lie. Words can hurt you, and people can hurt you with the things that they say about you and the things they say to you. And anybody who's trying to deny that, come on now. You know you're playing yourself. You played yourself. Forever Crazy says, I remember when I was small. Oh, I remember when a small warning went to a certain sector on YouTube about spreading lies and harassing people. This case will set a precedent on how bloggers' content is being used. It very well could. It very well could. All right, let us continue. It's also being said that Olga has shown up unprepared and discombobulated. Let's have a moment here, shall we? I want to talk about, just for a brief moment, Tasha K's choice in attorney in choosing Miss Olga Ismailova, or Mrs. I don't know if she's a Miss or Mrs., right? Let's take a quick walk down Attorney Ismailova Lane. Let's talk about who she is, shall we? Because I think you'll find it quite curious, as I did, that this is the attorney that Tasha K chose to represent her in this case, okay? So let me stop sharing for just a moment, just so I can queue up this next link for you all. All righty, I'm gonna share my screen. All right, here we are. So we are here at Sabak and Ismailova PC. This is attorney Ismailova's law firm. Okay. And this is the page which she kind of gives her bio and, talks about herself. I want you to notice some things about this website. Notice that the name of the website is Atlanta Criminal Defense Team. Notice that the name of the nickname for the firm, right, is Atlanta Criminal Defense Team. Does anyone find that to be interesting? Let me ask you all, are we in a criminal case? Is this a criminal case or is this a civil case? I'll wait. Take another sip of my tea. Let me know. Is this a criminal case or is this a civil case? Thank you, everyone in the chat. This is a civil case. So it's an interesting choice to hire a criminal defense attorney to represent you in a civil case. Now, let's hear what attorney Ismailova says about herself. Okay, this isn't Harry down the road or Sally down the road. This is her describing herself. Okay. I specialize in criminal defense. I have never practiced any other type of law. One more time. I specialize in criminal defense. I have never practiced any other type of law. And honestly, I don't think I ever will. People, people, this is a civil case. Is it not odd to you that Tasha K hired an attorney who, by her own description, loves criminal defense, specializes in criminal defense, and that is what she does exclusively? I'm going to let you marinate on that for a minute, because I want to hop back into the chat and say hello to Angelica Diallo, another person that we haven't seen in a while. How are you, doll? Natural Larisha, another person that I'm happy to see. Okay. Nappy Yankee said, Tasha K should. You guys know when I've been speaking for almost an hour, I should. Tasha K should sue herself for malpractice. I mean, really? No, but Nappy Yankee has a point. This woman, by her own admission, she loves criminal defense. That's her wheelhouse. Criminal defense is her thing. That's what she does. So why would you hire her in a civil case? Why would you hire her to defend you in a civil case? So now, remember I told you we're going to be on one end, right? And then the other end, and then we're going to come together. So let's come together now, everyone. Remember when we read that allegedly attorney Ismailova is nervous? She's showing up to court and she's discombobulated. This could be why. If this attorney is used to being a criminal defense attorney, she's used to criminal defense trials, and now all of a sudden she's in a multi-million-dollar civil trial? Come on, everyone. This could be the reason that she's discombobulated and nervous, because she's not in her wheelhouse. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with the difference between civil cases and criminal cases, allow me to walk you on down the lane, right? They are very, very, very different. Very different. Criminal cases and civil cases are not the same. The procedure is different. The motions are written differently and they appear different. The pretrial arguments are different. The mid-trial arguments are different. The post-trial arguments are different. It is nowhere near the same. So maybe attorney Ismailova is, nervous and discombobulated. Maybe she is, because she's a fish out of water right now by her own definition. Whew, you all, I've been taking deep breaths. Listen, when I was doing this research, I was blown away to learn some of the things that I have learned. Okay, so anyway, this is the lovely attorney Ismailova, right? No hate to her, of course. I want to take this moment to say, everyone, please, no negative comments about anyone. Okay, and definitely do not spew any negativity towards this attorney. From what I've read and seen of her, she is an amazing attorney and she loves what she does. But as I said, per her own definition, she loves to practice criminal defense. Okay. So I want to mention something else interesting. Now, throughout many of her conversations about Cardi B, Tasha K mentioned that Cardi B is allegedly racist. And she brought on guests who, testified that Cardi B had allegedly made racist statements and, make statements that Black people who aren't mixed aren't beautiful. And Cardi B has herself put some things out online that people interpreted to be racist. Now, Tasha K made a big deal about this. She made a big deal about Cardi B's allegedly racist behavior. And so I saw a comment online that said, oh, it's interesting that Tasha K made all these statements that she made and then turned around and did not hire a Black female attorney. Now, some people might be thinking, well, maybe she couldn't find, a Black female attorney that could adequately take this case. And although that's a ridiculous thing to say, some people may say that, right? So, you know what I did? I went down that path for you, so you don't have to. And I'm going to walk you down the path of all of the Black female attorneys Tasha K could have hired. But instead, she chose attorney Ishmailova. Okay. Alrighty. So let me hop back in the chat. Hello to Nikki Justice on the run. And a big hello to Pocket Watching with JT. How are you? Thanks for joining us. All right. So let's hop into that. I'm going to queue up all of the links that I have for you. Let's see, on some of Tasha K's potential options. Now, you will notice that I am showing you something from the state of New York, right? That's fine. You all, this is a federal case, okay? And it was filed in New York. So a New York barred attorney could have represented her here, all right? I am going to share my screen. All righty. Here we are. So we are here. Let me actually bring you to the home page first. So we are here. Once it loads, I mean, my goodness, what is going on with this extremely slow going? My, why is this moving so slowly? Of course, it was not moving this slowly previously, right? But it has to do it now. Maybe let's try About Us, or let's try refreshing it. Why is it moving so immensely slow? Let's try About Us. I'm trying a different page to see if that'll help. No, it's not helping. So anyway, I can't show you the home page, which is a bummer. I really wanted to show you all the home page because I wanted to give you the visual. Shoot. Well, listen, until we can get to the home page, this is the Association of Black Women Lawyers in the state of New York. Now, remember, while Tasha K lives in Georgia, this case is happening in New York, okay? And it's a federal case. Remember that. All right. So we're here in their member directory. Let's see. Commercial litigation, okay. Not quite. Let's see. Let's look for some. Oh, here we go. We have Afigo Fadahunsi. She is a litigation attorney. Okay, so we already have one, Black female attorney that Tasha K could have hired. Okay, let's see here. What is this here? That's criminal defense, so we don't want to go for that. I believe there was another litigator in this line here. Here we go. Okay, we have Adrienne Gonzalez. Okay, so another probably Afro-Latina because she's a part of this organization. Okay, so another Black female attorney that Tasha K could have hired. Okay, let's see here. We have Andoa Newton, yet another Black female attorney that specializes in litigation. Okay, not criminal defense, mind you. The attorney that she hired is a woman who specializes in criminal defense. And here we have all of these Black women who are attorneys that specialize in litigation, civil litigation, which is what she actually needs. Okay. Let's see. What else can we find here? Okay, that's not the kind of litigation we're looking for. I'm going to copy and paste this link, by the way, if any of you would like to just browse. Okay, here we go. Althea Daly, another Black woman who is an attorney who specializes in civil litigation. Okay, yay, it's working. Okay, what are we at home? Are we at the home page? Maybe. Yes. Oh, yeah, I'm so excited. Okay, so this is the home page. And look at these lovely ladies here. This is the Association of Black Women Lawyers in the state of New York. Now, Georgia also has its own version of this, but I pointed out New York because this case is in New York. So, with the big deal that Tasha K made about Cardi's racial statements, and with Tasha K juxtaposing these statements to position herself as someone who cares so much about, her alleged community, why not come to this organization? Go to their member directory, right? Which is where I was. I was in the member directory, which anyway, we'll get there, right? And just look at all the attorneys they have there and choose one of their attorneys. It's very interesting to think that Tasha K mentioned race and racial issues when discussing Cardi B, but then when given the chance to make a statement about the issues she discussed, she made no statement. It makes you wonder if it was genuine when she made these statements that she made about Cardi B. Okay, and yes, they're beautiful, right? Irreconcilable, gorgeous ladies, lovely website. You can go to the member directory and you can find someone specializing in anything that you want, right? Interesting. I'm gonna hop in the chat, say hello to a few people. Hello to Truth Strong. Hello to Dr. Nikki. Hello, Soror. How are you? All right. Hello to Tony Hayes. Let's see. Brenda has a question. She says, is there a reason why the lawyer wouldn't tell Tasha that it's in her best interest to hire a civil attorney? Here's the thing. We went to Attorney Ismailova's website, right? And let's pull it up again, right? We went to her website, everyone, and she says very clearly on her website that she practices in criminal defense. So is it really her responsibility to tell Tasha K about something that she made so public? She made it so publicly obvious that this was her specialization. She calls her firm the Atlanta Criminal Defense Team. So I don't know. You guys tell me, what do you think? Do you think that she owed Tasha K any responsibility to, I don't know, remind her of this? Because it's pretty bold as day here. And here's the thing. I would also imagine that if you go to Attorney Ismailova's office, they have a sign that reads Atlanta Criminal Defense Team, because that's their doing business. That's their DBA, right? They're doing business as Atlanta Criminal Defense Team. So more than likely, this is everywhere, right? Atlanta Criminal Defense Team, Sabak and Ismailova. So I don't know. Do you think she had a responsibility to remind Tasha K? I think she made it pretty obvious, I think. Hello to Bad A Truckin' Babe. Yes, that excellence that we just saw, right? Tasha K could have chosen any of those attorneys. Any. But instead, she chose a criminal defense attorney. Interesting. Truth Strong. No, this case was filed in New York. Am I right about that? Let me make sure. I could be wrong. Oh, shoot. Am I wrong? Is this case in Georgia and I'm tripping? No. Is it? Let me see. But either way, the point is that every state has their own association of Black women lawyers. Okay, so just for the sake of the exercise, and also, let me also reiterate my point that this is a civil case. A civil case. So this is a federal case. Okay, so that's another thing that you want to bring up when you're discussing who could have practiced in this case. It is a federal case. So, it could have been an attorney from New York, an attorney from Georgia, an attorney from Washington, D.C. It's a federal case. But anywho, just for argument's sake, let me show you all this as well. All righty. The Georgia Association of Black Women Lawyers, just in case my mind ran away with me, right? And the case wasn't filed in New York, right? Just in case. Here we go. Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys, okay? And again, another beautiful website, right? They have some details on membership, and they have a member directory, just like we saw previously. Aha! People, every state has a Black Women Attorneys Association, club, whatever they call themselves, and they all have member directories. Now you go to their member directory, right? And you can view everyone's profile to ascertain what they practice, and if they are appropriate for you, give them a call and potentially hire them. So again, back to my original point. It's interesting that she chose the attorney that she chose. Okay. So yes, it is in Atlanta. Okay, so I retract my statement that this case is in New York. However, it's a federal case, everyone. Okay. Please bear that in mind. That means that what state the attorney is from is irrelevant. Okay. All righty. So let's see what else we got going on in the chat. Yeah, Angelica Diallo said something very interesting. She said it makes me question Tasha's motives. Listen, I'm going to leave it at that because she made the point of making race an issue when she discussed Cardi B. So I leave it at that. I say it's interesting, right? And I leave it at that. So let's get back into the testimony, shall we? Because there's something interesting about Tasha K's husband's testimony that I think we should discuss. Now, it is alleged, and I have to say alleged, right? Because I did not obtain the transcript and I was not there. So it is alleged that supposedly Tasha K's husband testified that he was not in agreement with what Tasha K was doing, that he did not agree with the fact that Tasha K was saying what she was saying about Cardi B, et cetera, et cetera. I believe it's also been reported that he may have advised her to stop. Now, some of you may be thinking, oh, well, it sounds like, Tasha K's husband may be a nice guy, right? So let me ask you, do you think that Tasha K's husband testified that he was not in agreement with it because he is just a nice guy? Or do you think that there is a reason that he is seeking to separate himself from Tasha's alleged wrongdoing? So give me a 1 in the chat if you think Mr. Kibe is just a nice guy. Give me a 2 in the chat if you think there is a legal reason that he is trying to separate himself from the things that his wife has allegedly done. Okay, so I see a bunch of 2s. So it seems like everyone thinks, right, that Mr. Kibe is trying to separate himself from Mrs. Kibe. Now, in my humble opinion, it is very possible that Mr. Kibe is trying to separate himself from the things that his wife has done. Notice when we look at that docket, we don't see her husband, right? We see Latasha Kibe. And so many people online are supposing that her husband is in fact the sole owner of a lot of their important financial assets, such as Kibe Studios. Again, I don't know, right? This is what is being supposed. And if so, that means that Cardi B has sued Latasha Kibe as what? As a person, as an individual. So let's pull up court listener again, right? Just for our own edification, because we are going to make sure, right? We're going to be real sure that it is in fact Tasha K that is being sued in this case. Okay, we're going to be extra sure. So I am pulling up court listener once more, and we are going to take a look at the docket again. Because if in fact it is that Tasha K is the noted party of defendant, we know that Mr. Kibe could be seeking to distance himself to protect assets, to protect financial assets that may be in his name that cannot be touched without garnering a judgment against him. Remember, if Tasha K is the sole defendant here and Cardi B wins, she wins against Latasha Kibe, not against Latasha Kibe and everybody else. Okay. Now, CR says Cardi can garnish Tasha's checks. Of course she can. Those are Tasha's checks. That still does not deal with assets and other things that could be in her husband's name. All right. So I'm going to share my screen And we're going to double check. We're going to double check who the listed defendants are here. So we see Kibe is listed here, but let's pull up, what page are we on again? Because, let's do descending instead of ascending. Oh, no, let's not. Let's not. I take that back. All right, let's come on down to the initial. I want us to find the initial filing, but it's so weird. They had so many. Perfect. Okay, here we are. Okay, so let's go to the initial complaint here. Can you all still see that? I think you can. Yeah, you can. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so here were the listed defendants in the initial filing. Mind you, this is the initial filing. So could things have been edited and changed since then? Possibly. But we're going to make our supposition based on what we have available to us, right? Okay. All right. So in the initial filing, we see that Tasha K and Star Marie Ebony Jones are listed as the defendants. Now, it is being said in the chat that Tasha K's defendant, listen to me. It is being said in the chat that Tasha K's husband and her studios were later added as defendants. If they were added as defendants, then hey, it is what it is, right? Cardi B could garner a judgment against all of them. But her initial filing does not list them. Okay, so let's note that. Yes, defendants could have been added. That is possible. Her initial filing does not note them. So now let's walk down the path of, let's say she did add them. So let's say Cardi B did add Mr. Kibe and Kibe Studios as defendants. Mr. Kibe still has reason to separate himself, right? Because he would want, as an individual defendant, to be taken out of the case, meaning he would want, as an individual defendant, to be found not liable. So either way, whether his name is in the suit as a defendant or not, he still has legal reason to want to separate himself. Okay? So let's be clear about that. Because if he is listed as a defendant, he could individually be found not liable, while Tasha Kibe is found liable. Okay? And that would still protect his individual assets as Mr. Kibe. All righty. So Angelica Diallo has a question. She says, how far can he distance himself when indeed he runs at least the business part as a business partner? So the burden of proof is always on the plaintiff. Remember that, Angelica. It is the plaintiff's burden to note all defendants. So yes, just because I am your business partner, if I am not listed as a defendant and if our business is not listed, it doesn't matter, right? However, as we've heard in the chat, it's being alleged that defendants were added later on, right? That could be possible. Okay. All right. And another person says they were added later on. Again, our original point is what? He has legal reason for wanting to separate himself. And even if he was added as an individual defendant, it still benefits him to be proven not liable, people. It still benefits him as an individual if he's found not liable. That means as an individual, he's not responsible. It would be Latasha Kibe and Kibe Studios that have to foot the bill, and not him as Mr. Kibe. Let me scroll through my notes and see if there's anything else that I wanted to bring up. Okay, so I have a few things that I pulled for you all that I wanted to share with you. Just to kind of round out our conversation about jurors and self-incrimination. Now, it is being said that a juror was dismissed, right? And it is being said that this juror saw a video of Tasha K and expressed that she felt that the video was especially bad, and then said juror was dismissed. So let's have a quick conversation about jurors and jurors being dismissed and why things like that could happen. Okay, so I'm going to queue up that information for you now. And then, of course, share my screen. All right, share screen. All right. And my last word on this Mr. Kibe thing, Mr. Hayes, again, if the person is not found individually responsible, it does not matter what dots a forensic accountant wants to connect. That person is not individually responsible. That's that. All right. So, selecting jurors. Now, here we are. So, remember, again, another one of our tools that we can use. I know there's some new people in the building, some newbies. So, allow me to introduce you to the Legal Information Institute. It's a great tool for any legal rule or statute that you want to take a look at. So, this is the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. These are the rules that are being used in this case. Why? Because it is a civil case and it is a federal case. Okay. So, here, let's go to section C. Excusing a juror. During trial or deliberation, the court may excuse a juror for good cause. So that means that even when you're in the midst of a trial, right, a judge can pull and dismiss a juror, as this judge has supposedly done. Now, they have to do that with what? Good cause. So now you might be wondering, well, what is good cause? Good cause is, in the case of a juror, right, a few different things. But one of the most important things is that a juror has to be, right? Well, let me take that back because I almost said something that pertains more so to a judge. A juror has to be able to approach the evidence, in an impartial manner. So even though the juror has to make a decision, right, the juror still has to be able to take in the evidence and not develop any type of partiality or be on anyone's side or favor anyone over the other. And so for some reason, with the response that this juror gave, the judge felt that she was expressing that she favored Cardi B, right, over Tasha K, perhaps, or even that she thought that Tasha K was just abhorrent. And all of that is displaying that she may not be able to make a decision based on the evidence. She may be making a decision based on the fact that she just doesn't like Tasha K. And that, everyone, is why a juror can be dismissed. Because the decision that jurors make should be based on the evidence and not based on their personal opinion. And I believe the judge said, again, supposedly, right, that this dismissal was to prevent an appeal. As we've discussed, attorney Ishmailova has allegedly already tried to introduce evidence that was, stricken, evidence that was found to be inadmissible. So you already have the potential for an appeal there. So it looks like the judge doesn't want to take any more chances, right? And doesn't want anything else to happen that could mean that later on his case ends up getting reversed on an appeal. For those of you who don't know, too much about judges and their reputation and their record, judges do not like having their cases reversed on appeal. Why do you guys think, if you have any thoughts on this, that a judge would dislike having their case reversed on appeal? What do you think that could mean for the judge, and why this judge is so adamant about protecting this case from potential appeal? What do you think? Hmm. Okay, Lil YouTuber said it. So Lil YouTuber says competence. There you have it. Judges do not want their decisions and their cases, and especially matters in which they've had such a public trial, to be reversed. Why? Because it makes it look as though that judge was incorrect in the way that he interpreted the law. It makes it look as though he did not run the trial in an above board manner, that things happened during that trial that should not have happened, that he did not correct, and that hurts his record. That is why judges do not like having their cases reversed. So between the things we've heard happening with Tasha K's attorney introducing evidence that, well, trying to introduce inadmissible evidence, right? And then Tasha K on the stand fumbling and bumbling, this judge may be in a place already where he feels, listen, there's too many things happening here. And I need to reduce the chances that this makes me look bad, right? Okay. Angelica has a question. She says, I know this is probably a late question, but has anyone went over to see if there was any possible antagonistic between either Tasha or Cardi prior to filing? I'm not sure. Oh, antagonistic behavior. Okay. Well, there was a long history, Angelica, of Cardi B and Tasha K having issues with each other prior to this filing. It is alleged, and I believe Tasha K admitted this, that Cardi B's attorneys did send Tasha K many cease and desist. They requested that she stop and that she retract some of her stories that weren't true, and she refused to do so. And she's now, supposedly admitted that her stories were untrue, but she's trying to say that they were for entertainment purposes, which we already walked down that path. Okay. So listen, it's been about an hour and a half ish. And unless you all have burning questions for me or anything that you just absolutely want to discuss, I am going to go ahead and head out and have some more tea and wind it on down for the night. So yes, if you have any questions, I am here. I'm going to wait right here and give you a few moments. Jeopardy music. Do, 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 do. If I don't see any questions, I'm going to hop on out. All right, so I don't see any questions. So thank you to all of you for joining me this evening for another installment of Empowered Esquire TV. Today, we had a full breakdown of what has occurred thus far in this Cardi B Tasha K defamation trial. Now, remember, this is not the first time we discussed this. We broke down this case during the initial filing, way back in the way back, right in the way, way past, as some people would say, 6 months ago. So check the description. I'm going to plop that into the description to see the initial video that we did. If you are catching this on the replay, what say you? What do you think has occurred thus far in this case, as far as, legally relevant things that point to how this case may turn out, right? Do you have any thoughts on Tasha K's choice in attorney? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. All right. So I hope you feel empowered by the legal information that was shared with you today. Remember, you are powerful in your own right. Do not compare yourself to others, because you bring something unique to the table. You bring something unique to this world that no one else has. It's been wonderful hanging out with you. See you later.